Hey, how's it going? So today I'm going to show you how to make a classic Mexican dish called entomatadas. So in Mexico, entomatadas are considered a comfort food, often conjuring images of warm, cozy childhood meals. Entomatadas are similar to enchiladas, but there is a distinct difference, and that's the sauce. Enchiladas have a chili-based sauce, where entomatadas have a tomato-based sauce. Like enchiladas, entomatadas can be folded over in a roll, but oftentimes it's the tortilla, it's a corn tortilla, and it's folded over just halfway. And like enchiladas, entomatadas can have a variety of fillings. What I'm going to show you is how to make a vegan chicken filling for the entomatadas. So if you're new here, my name is Beth, and on this channel, I make everything that is gluten-free and vegan. So in this video today, as I said, I'm going to show you how to make the chicken base for the entomatadas. But in addition to that, I'm going to show you how to make a vegan and gluten-free queso fresco and a Mexican crema, and also the sauce that goes on the entomatadas. I'm also going to show you how you prepare the entomatadas. It has a little unique procedure whereby you fry the tortilla shell first, and then you dip it in the sauce, and then you add your fillings and toppings, and you fold it over, and then you top it with the crema and the queso fresco. And I think I'll also be adding some red onions on top and cilantro. So let's get on to making these recipes. Let's start by making the Mexican crema. Soak 1 cup of raw, unsalted cashews covered in the fridge overnight. Then drain them well and place them in a high-speed blender. Then add 3/4 cup of water, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, and 2 tablespoons of lime juice. I then blended everything using a high-speed blender. I blended it until I had a very smooth, creamy, and pourable liquid. You should store this in a container with a lid in the refrigerator, and if stored like that, it's good for about 4 days. Next, I'll show you how to make the queso fresco. Place 1 cup of pre-soaked, unsalted, raw cashews in either a food processor or blender. Add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar for a mild flavor, or if you want that really tart flavor, use white vinegar. Then add 1 tablespoon of water and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then blend everything until you have a smooth and creamy texture. This may take some time with a food processor, requiring you to stop and then scraping down the sides to make sure that you're blending up all of the ingredients. The queso is much thicker than the crema, and you want to blend it until smooth, but it's okay if it has texture to it. So place a wide strainer over a bowl and then cover that strainer with cheesecloth. Then scoop the queso fresco onto the cheesecloth. So then you want to wrap the cheesecloth around the queso fresco, forming a ball, and cinch it at the top and then close it either with a rubber band or perhaps some string. Then cover the queso with a plastic wrap and then put a smaller bowl on top of that, and then add something weighted to the bowl. And then place this in the refrigerator overnight to allow the water to extract out of the queso. The next day, I removed the cheesecloth from the queso, and as you see, it created a firm ball of cheese. I then pulled off some sections of the queso fresco to create crumbles to put inside of and on top of the entomatadas. Next, I'll show you how to make the vegan chicken filling for the entomatadas. So for this recipe, I used 1/2 bag of Butler soy curls. I'll leave a link in the description below to this product. To rehydrate the soy curls and to give them a chicken-like flavor, I used 2 bouillon cubes of Not Chicken by Edward & Son. I placed the cubes in a large mixing bowl, and then I added 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, as well as a tablespoon of gluten-free soy sauce. I then added 3 cups of boiling water and 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I gave everything a good stir, and I allowed the liquid just to sit for a bit to allow the bouillon to dissolve. I then added the 1/2 bag of soy curls to the liquid, and I gave that a stir as well, and I allowed that to sit for about 10 minutes to rehydrate the soy curls. After allowing them to soak for 10 minutes, I then strained the soy curls in batches using a strainer, and then I used my hands to actually squeeze as much liquid as I could out of the soy curls, and then I placed the dried soy curls onto a separate plate. I then lined a baking tray with parchment paper, and I spread the soy curls out onto that paper, making sure to spread them out so they all cooked evenly. I then placed the soy curls in a preheated 425-degree Fahrenheit oven, and I baked them for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I took the soy curls out of the oven and I mixed them around with my hands. As you see, they're starting to brown and get slightly crispy. I then placed them back into the oven to cook for another 5 minutes. I then allowed them to cool, and I placed them in a plastic storage bag to keep in the refrigerator while I made the remaining ingredients. Next, let's make the Entomatadas sauce. I started with 7 Roma tomatoes. You can also use regular tomatoes. I'd suggest like 5 to 6 medium ones, and also 1 medium-sized yellow onion and 1 jalapeno. I peeled the onion and I cut it in half, and I placed the half of the onion and all of the tomatoes and the jalapenos in a large pot of water. I then brought this to a boil and allowed it to boil for about 10 minutes. And you do this until the tomatoes start loosening their skins and the onions soften a bit. I then removed the vegetables and placed them into a high-speed blender. However, I did cut off the stem of the jalapeno before putting it in the blender. I also added about 3 large cloves of garlic. I also then added 2 cups of vegan chicken broth, which I made using the Edward & Son bouillon. I then blended all of the ingredients together to a smooth puree. It was almost like a tomato soup. I then emptied the water out of the pot that I used to boil the vegetables, and I poured the tomato sauce into that pot. I then added 1 teaspoon of oregano and 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. I stirred the seasoning into the sauce, and then I brought the sauce to a boil, and then I turned it on a medium heat and then simmered it for about 20 minutes to allow it to reduce. To assemble the entomatadas, I took 1/4 of a red onion and I diced it and I sauteed it in a skillet with about 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. I sauteed the onions for about 3 minutes to allow them to soften. I then added the previously baked soy curls to the pan and stirred that around to allow them to warm. I then started adding about 3/4 cup of the tomato sauce to the soy curls. You can add as much as you want. If you'd like it drier, add less. If you want it more moist, add more. Set the soy curls aside and clean out your pan. You're going to use this to fry the tortillas. Pour enough avocado oil in the skillet so you have about 1/4 inch in depth of avocado oil. Then heat this on medium-high so it starts to sizzle. Then carefully place a corn tortilla in the skillet. Place it away from you so it doesn't splatter. And then using a fork, allow it to fry for 10 seconds and then flip it with that fork and cook for another 10 seconds. You don't want a fried, crispy tortilla. You just want it to blister slightly and be pliable. Place the tortillas on a separate plate that is covered with a paper towel to allow it to absorb the oil. And then just continue this process. You want to fry about 8 tortillas. So then you want to get a separate plate and use it as your staging plate. And then you want to place a corn tortilla on that. And you can dip the tortilla in the sauce. I chose not to do that. I decided just to fill it with the soy curls, and then I added queso on top of that. And then I folded the tortilla in half to cover the other side. And then in place of dipping it in the sauce, as mentioned, I added a good amount of the tomato sauce on top. I then plated the entomatadas on a separate serving plate, and I added even more sauce. I then drizzled some Mexican crema on top. Then I added some queso fresco crumbles, sliced red onion, and some diced cilantro. I served the entomatadas with a side of vegan charro beans, some yellow rice, and some sliced avocado with some lime on top. If you're a fan of comfort food and Mexican comfort food, then you're going to love this dish. Let me know in the comments if you make this dish. Also, if you ever have a recipe or favorite food, be it a main dish or a dessert, and you want it converted to a gluten-free and vegan dish, just let me know in the comments and I'll see if I can feature it in an upcoming video. Also, check out these next videos.